wait about 3 minutes before we get started, just to give everyone a chance to join in. While you're waiting, I just wanted to point out again that we will be in a two-way audio mode for today's presentation, so you will be able to ask questions during the call. However, I just wanted to point out that you will want to keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking. And so just check up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and make sure that the mute icon is showing over the microphone. And just stand by and we'll be back with you very shortly. Also, many of you have already shared your introductions in the shared notes feature. If you haven't already, please check that out now. It's the yellow icon up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. It looks like a notepad. All right, please stand by and we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to today's welcome call for the Expert Educator Program. Before we get started, I'd like to point out some features of Microsoft Office Live Meeting. This session will be recorded, and you are in a two-way audio mode. Upon joining this meeting, you agree to have your comments recorded and used in the distribution of the event replay. You can mute and unmute your microphone in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Please make sure to keep yourself on mute when you are not speaking. I would also like to call your attention to the Q&A menu option. You can click Q&A to display the questions and answers pane. We encourage you to send your text questions at any time. Simply type your question into the field next to the Ask button and then click Ask. Please note that you may have only one question pending at a time, but you may change your question by clicking the Edit button in the Q&A pane. You can print a PDF copy of the slide deck by selecting the printer icon in the lower right-hand corner of your client. You can also access the Shared Notes feature in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Feel free to enter your thoughts as we go through today's call. And finally, if you experience any technical difficulties, please use the feedback button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and expect a one-to-one chat to help you resolve the issue. Now just one moment while I switch to the main slide deck and begin the recording. Now at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Taryn Benaroche. Taryn, you now have the floor.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Heather. Thank you to all of you on this call. This is my favorite call of the year and my favorite time of the year. My name is Taryn Benaroche. You have no doubt seen my name on many emails. So I'm very excited to meet you on the phone. even more excited to get to know you in person in Barcelona and virtually over the next couple of months. For those of you who don't know, my background is I was a primary school teacher in New York City about 10 years ago. And after that, I worked in education policy, and now I'm here at Microsoft trying to do what we can to recognize the best teachers in the world. And I'm so happy and proud to say that is all of you on this call. So the purpose of today's call is really an overview. So welcome to all of you to the program. It's reiterating some of the things you might already know from the materials that you've gotten from your Microsoft folks in country or from our materials. But we're going to go into a little bit more depth today. And then over the next month, you'll have a series of webinars that will further clarify things. So without further ado, I want to just first spend a moment kind of recognizing how incredible all of you are. I have to tell you that the executives at Microsoft were very, very impressed with the quality that we've gotten. Microsoft has been working in education for many, many years and has been investing a significant number of dollars in teachers for the last 10 years. But what we've seen is educators who are so passionate, raising their hand about trying to make change in their classroom for innovation. And this year was, I can tell you the most wonderful that we've seen. We have selected 259 expert educators, which is seems like a big number, but if you look at that other number, 23,000, there were over 23,000 applicants for this program. So you all are amongst an elite few. There were a lot of people very eager to come and join us at the Global Forum and for this year-long program. And you all come from 150 plus different countries, which is pretty amazing. I know we have a variety of languages on this call, and I think we're practically a virtual to promote the fact that you've been selected as an expert educator. Many of you have been very active on social media, and I think I might have interacted with some of you before then. In the shared notes pane at the end, I'll write down my Twitter account for you, and we'll send that out as well. I'm excited to be able to interact with you on Twitter. Okay, I'm going to keep going. There's going to be a space for questions and comments and excitement in a little bit, but I want to just make sure that we're getting through all the material that we need to. So I want to introduce you to your community manager. Now, in our original welcome email, we told you that there would be a specific person that you would be your point of contact at Microsoft. You may already be working with someone in your country that's your Partners in Learning manager, and you're going to, of course, make sure that you're always in contact with them. But for questions that are specific to the Expert Educator program, you're going to have a community manager who can answer your day-to-day questions and help you out as you need it, and as you develop your plan for the year and as you get ready for the Partners in Learning Forum, for the Microsoft in Education, Forum in Barcelona. So what I would like to do, if you'll see on this slide, you're going to take a look at your country, take a look for your country, and that will correspond with who your community manager is. You'll see that I have the United States and Latin America, so welcome to my group. But I would like to also have my other parts of our team introduce themselves so you get to know them, and they will also send you an email in the next days introducing themselves to you. So Tracy, can you go ahead and start us off?
Absolutely. I am so excited to be part of this program. Like Sharon said, my name is Tracy Christensen, and I will be working closely with the Central and Eastern Europe group, France, UK, and Germany. So, if any of you guys are on the call, welcome, and please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions. I've been with the Partners Learning Program for a little over a year, and it has been a phenomenal opportunity, and I've loved every moment being able to work with all of the educators, school leaders, and getting to know people from all around the world. And I look forward to meeting everyone in Barcelona.
Excellent. Thank you, Tracy. Because of the time difference, I don't believe Lane is on the call, but he will be in charge of our Asia Pacific group, including Japan, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, and India. And Lane is a fantastic member of our team. He's the newest member of our team here for teachers, and I know that he's very excited to communicate with you. Rahman, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I'm very excited to be here today, and I can't wait to support two of the big regions and one of the great countries. I'm supporting Middle East and Africa, and that's a lot of countries. And just for those people, for you to know, I speak Arabic, so if you prefer to write an email in Arabic to me, you're more than welcome to do that. Western Europe, unfortunately, I do not speak Spanish or Italian or any of the other languages, so we're going to need to stick with English there. Canada, I'm so happy to support those three big regions, and I know this program is great, and I'm very, very happy to be here and be part of it.
Thank you so much. Okay, fantastic. Well, I see that there are some questions about if people have contacted you. You have not received an email yet from your community manager, but you will in the coming days. And I will tell you that we're all very excited to have our groups, and everybody is very excited about working with you. So as you can tell, the word excitement is a big one here for us on our team. Okay, so I also wanted to introduce something that you will also be getting by email again, which is the playbook. We know that there's a lot to take in for this program, and frankly, you guys are part of the inaugural class. We've done a lot of work with forums in the past, but this is the first time we've instituted this expert educator program as such. So what we did is we wrote a playbook. It's pretty comprehensive, and part of the goal of the playbook is to make this year as easy as possible. It should have answers to many of your substantive questions about the program. But again, of course, if the answers aren't there, you can always ask your community manager. But it really, as you know, when you apply to the program, there are certain commitments in terms of dependent on what country you're from. So in terms of visas, as well as hotel arrangements, those logistics will be handled with you in the coming weeks. But I wanted to make sure that I gave an overview of what the forum will look like. Because for those of you who have been in the forum before, it's a little bit different than what you've done in the past. There are two main competition pieces of the forum and two ways to win. There are going to be 18 awards at the forum. 9 of them will be for the Learning Activity Showcase. Now, for those of you who have been to the forum before, this is going to be very similar to the traditional learning activity displays that you've seen in prior forums. If you who have not been to the forum before, the learning activities that you all submitted as part of your application, you have the chance between now and the forum to build those out, and we'll be setting specific requirements and set a display, a digital display of this project that will be judged by education leaders from around the world. We have people who are scholars, academics, people from ministries of education, and political leaders who come around and are going to assess these learning activities based on the 21st century skills rubric that I mentioned before. So that's the first part, and there are 9 prizes to be awarded in that category. And that will be happening on March 11th. So we'll be doing some team building in the morning and some professional development, some 21st century LD, learning design refreshers. And then in the afternoon of the 11th, and then the next day of the 12th, we'll be doing your exhibiting and your judging. So that's the first 2 days, including March 10th. Now, what's new for next year is our Learnathon. The Learnathon will happen March 13th and 14th, and this is something that's quite new and very exciting that we're really, it comes in response to prior forums. A lot of the commentary we got in forums past is that the best part of being with all these educators is interacting and learning from people in different countries. And at prior forums, we really didn't have an opportunity to interact deeply with other teachers from other countries. A lot of it was simply listening to professional development and some interaction, but it wasn't really the depth of community that people would like. So that's the genesis, the origins of this Learnathon. What we will be doing is splitting you all into groups. There are going to be groups of about 5, and you'll be grouped according to language, and then we're going to also mixing up the regions. So you'll be able to meet people from other places. And we're going to be issuing you a challenge. And your challenge will be to create a learning activity, based on 3 topics: poverty, environment, and gender equality. And we got those topics from the Millennium Goals from the UN. Now, we're going to have a very in-depth conversation on the judging for the Learnathon as we get closer to the forum on one of our 21st century skills development webinars. And we'll give you all the details of that, but I wanted to preview that as we will soon be grouping you into your groups. All right. So the other part of this is really after the forum, your journey will continue. This is a sort of slide that has a lot of detail, but we want to make sure that we're also responding to comments that we've received in prior forums, which is that people have not felt as engaged after the forum as before. And what we want to make sure is that this is a true year-long and hopefully lifelong connection to teachers throughout the world. We're going to have a lot of leadership opportunities. If you have ideas about what you'd like to do with this group, how you'd like to stay in contact, things that you want from either Microsoft or the other educators, please communicate that to your community managers, and we will make sure that we get that for you. We're here to make sure that this community is vibrant, that you're getting something out of this community, and that this is a fantastic year, that really you feel professionally developed, and that you get some special recognition for all the hard work that you do. So with that, I wanted to see, Razan, anything you wanted to add to that before we, Tracy or Razan, before I moved on to questions?
Not from my end.
get my head around how the teachers are going to present their work for the exhibition on the Tuesday and Wednesday. And how do you want that? Are you going to give us an example of how you want that packaged, or what?
Yeah.
Or what you're looking for?
We're going to be very specific, and that's we're going to go over that in our next webinar. This is more of an introductory.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be very specific about that because it's. But we'll be very specific so that all of you, for those of you who don't know, that's Tom who does work with us at Microsoft. So all of the APMs have all the information that they need for their teachers, and then all the teachers are clear on the expectations as well. Thanks, Tom.
I have a question.
I think we have a question. Is that a question from somebody? No. Okay, well I hope that you are all as chatty as you are on the shared notes pane. There must be some questions that you have for us. If not, you can of course address your community manager. Is there anything else? Any other APMs have any questions for me on this call? I know we had some of our Microsoft folks maybe have questions.
Can I just say, Karen, for the folks who haven't used the speech folder, if they click on the Q&A icon up at the top left, they can type in a question or a comment. Some people may not have never used this before.
Yeah, we give a brief introduction.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't worry. But that's a very good point. If you don't want to say your comments, if you go up to the top where it says Q&A, you can absolutely type in your question if you don't feel like saying it out loud.
Hi, Taryn. I have a quick question.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Eric Patton. I'm from just outside Chicago, in the United States, and I was wondering, will we be contacting the community managers in order to make arrangements for the travel to Barcelona?
Yeah, you're going to get information from your community managers about how to get the travel and all the visas that are required.
Okay, great. Thanks.
No problem. And so hopefully, Joshua, that answered your question as well. Joshua, looking at
Excuse me, I want to ask one question.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just finish answering Joshua's question really quickly. Is it mostly the countries teachers do not travel together? They mostly travel individually. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marie, with your question.
I am Raghavendra from India. So, I just wanted to ask. So, there is a differences in the usage of technology between the country to the country.
Yeah.
And we are sharing all those learning activities on single platform. So while you are judging, are you having any such kind of discrimination? Because there are some countries which are very high in technology, and there are some countries teachers which are normally using very less technology. So does this make any sense?
Yes, that's a very excellent question, Raghavendra. Thank you so much for asking it. Given the variances in technology used from country to country, it is, you will not be penalized for the conditions of technology in your country. So if you have certain access to technology and others have, either more advanced tools, what we're looking for is the way that you use what you have. So it's the innovation with the tools that are given, and of course technology is a part of it, but it's about the skills that you're developing as a result of the technology. And so on the 21 CLC webinars, you'll be given a whole introduction to the judging process, but you'll see that it focuses heavily on the learning and how you use the technology so that you, from a place that may not have as advanced devices, for example, you're not going to be penalized on that. And we've had learners in the past from all over the world, on I think very from emerging market countries to Western Europe to the United States, so it's not discriminated against.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Roberts, and it says, as for the learning activities that will be judged, are they the ones submitted in the original application? And the answer is yes, actually. You cannot resubmit a new learning activity, but you can improve or amend or expand upon the one that you submitted. The reason that you cannot submit a new one is because the learning activity was a big part of why you were chosen, and that's the reason. All right, I have a couple of folks with their hands raised. And Eric, would you like? I know that we just heard from you. Did we answer your question, or did you have another one that you want to answer? You want us to answer?
I had another question.
Great.
I was wondering, so when we do get to the global forum, and there are so many of us from different countries who speak different languages, what kind of plans do you guys have in place for us to overcome that language barrier? Let's say if I wanted to communicate and collaborate with a teacher from another country who spoke a different language, how would I overcome that? Have you guys thought about that at all?
Oh yes. So this is something that is always kind of the trickiest part of our forum, to be perfectly honest with you. Now that we have everyone selected, we're taking stock of all the languages that we have coming to the forum. And I will say that it's certainly never perfect. But what we will likely do is what we've done in past years, and is have a translator for the largest concentration languages outside of English. For example, last year we had a simultaneous translator for Arabic and for Spanish. So that helped because we had a large concentration of those. And then we do our best with we have Microsoft employees who work with some of the smaller languages. For example, some of the languages in Eastern Europe, so that they can do some translation to allow for collaboration. It's never perfect, and there is usually a pretty generally many of the students speak English, but those who don't, we try to give them as much assistance as possible, given the circumstances.
Okay, great. Thanks for answering my question.
No problem. I want to answer another fun question. Which is the trip to Barcelona free for both the author and the co-author? If you submitted your two names on your project, yes, it is free for both of you. What I would suggest is making sure that both you and your co-author of the project are listed to ensure that we keep both names as part of this. Because you are definitely, each one of you on this call is getting a free trip to Barcelona. If there are two people on one project, that should have been noted prior, but you need to note that in your communications with your community managers going forward. Okay. Going with the question. So Gerard has asked a question about the presentation format, and that's what we're going to go over in very painstaking detail in our next call. Okay.
Can I interrupt here? I just want to say, I think we're getting a few questions on the winners
lot of questions on logistics about what you should bring. We will be answering those later. Do you see anything that I'm missing, Razan, before I go on?
Well, I'm trying to read them all. I think, it's nothing that is useful for everyone. I think there's specific questions that are related to specific people. And I just wanted to say, if we sort of miss your question, because we have a lot of questions, so if we sort of miss your question, please feel free to email us, and we'll make sure we'll get it answered for you.
Exactly. This is what your community manager is for. Okay. All right, to all of you, I believe that we've answered the questions that are applicable to everybody. And unless we have other questions, I wanted to close out, unless I missed anything from you all that you wanted to say, and say that we're really, really, really excited to have you on next month, rather. What you can expect from the webinar is going to be a much more, it's going to be a lot less fluffy, as I like to say. It's going to be a very interesting look into 20th century skill development. We have one of our experts coming. Her name is Tracy Immel. She's done work with UNESCO, the World Bank, and also trained teachers in schools inside and outside the United States. So we're very happy to have her come and do this training for us in the next couple months. And she's going to be going through the 21st century learning design. To support all those webinars, each of them will be giving you more information about the forum and what you should expect through that as well. Again,
sorry to interrupt. We're getting a question that maybe you can move to the slide where they have the contact details of the community manager. So maybe you want to have that up for the last bits of the call, so they can copy the email.
Absolutely. So again, you will receive emails from us, so you can feel free to use that, and also, of course, always feel free to contact us if you need anything. As we go on throughout the year, we want to continue what you need. So we'll be asking for your input on recipes, information that you need, or special guest speaker that you want to hear from. So, all right, with that, we look forward to working with you, community managers. I have to tell you, there's a bit of excitement around all of us getting you all in person and work with you all specifically. I know everyone is pretty excited as well. Okay, thank you so much. Heather, can I hand it back to you for any closing housekeeping as well?
So I will just point out that if people want to print a PDF copy of the slide deck, you can go to the right-hand corner of your screen, the bottom right-hand corner, and there's an icon that looks like a printer. So if you do want to print a copy of the slide deck, you can do it there, and we will also be posting the recording